What's up, guys? This is Brad with Spike Fitness, and I got a friend here today. This is Ian.
It's going.
Ian, YouTube, Ian. Anyway, so as some of you may be familiar, I was kind of going through some hard times recently, especially if you guys follow me on social media. You kind of made a few posts about being upset, and you know, that was my way of kind of poking at my wife, which for me was the source of my anguish. But you know, I was kind of working through it. Everything was kind of balancing itself out, and I was just going to let it ride. There were a few folks through social media as well as YouTube that have asked questions of me, like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And kind of wanted me to explain myself. And then, you know, just happened to be at the bar last night with you and kind of talking about some stuff, and you know, kind of having similar type issues.
Yes.
So I figured it might be a good opportunity to sit down and kind of talk about some of that. So that I'm sure that there's other people, not just soldiers, but people all over the world that have issues of feeling, you know, isolated, feelings of, you know, whatever. So I kind of want to unpack that a little bit.
No, I fully understand. It's you know, the last year. I mean, this has been a good year. It really has. But you know, being away from your family is definitely one of the roughest things, especially when you got small kids. I got 3 kids. Love them to death, and you just gotta make sure everything is solid on the home front before you come do one of these things. Because if it's not, things creep in, and they will tear you apart. And yeah, it's kind of what I've been going through for like the last few weeks myself. You know, just some friendships going south, other friends going through issues. It's yeah, it's hell. It really is.
Kind of like when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I made a comment. I think it was on Instagram, something like that, about you know, if you peer into the void too long, sometimes the void peers back, right?
Yes, it does.
And so, kind of by that, what I mean is just the downward spiral of negativity, right? So it's almost like a domino effect, right? So a few dominoes start to fall. Most of us are resilient enough where a few dominoes can fall and it's not that big of a deal. But occasionally the right dominoes fall, or maybe the wrong ones, depending on how you look at it. But the wrong dominoes fall, and sometimes all it takes is just one of those guys, and it just like floodgates open, and it feels like hell on earth. And you know, I know that for me, one of my biggest struggles, and where I kind of where I tend to flounder, is with issues with my wife, right? So I need a lot of attention.
Same here.
I'm a very affectionate person.
As am I.
And so even just comments, right? Talking.
Yeah.
Right. So like, you know, we talked a little bit about intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think intimacy is really important, but intimacy doesn't just mean sex, right? Like,
No, it doesn't.
I sure miss the hell out of that, but it's not what I need. It's not the thing that I crave.
It's that emotional connection with someone that just, you want it. You have to have it. It's
Yeah, the connection.
It's, you know, not that I've done this, but it's like that shot of heroin that just kind of, you need it. It's
yeah, it's just like air, right?
Yeah.
You know, I can hold my breath, but for so long,
Yeah.
and then I need another breath. And that's kind of how I feel with my wife in my life. She's kind of that breath of air for me. So when I have an opportunity to sit down and connect, it means the world to me.
Yeah.
And joke and things like that. And you know, I find the thing that I miss the most is being the proximity, the closeness, right? So like to be able to put my arms around her, smell her hair, smell her skin. You know what I mean? Just that feeling of home. And not having that for me is very hard. So I found that I've been kind of struggling with that. Now, what really kicked things off for me is that the way that my wife handles things, when my wife does things, is she tends to just full throttle, keep herself super busy, never stop to come up for air, and you know, just go, right? So then that has a lot of kind of exacerbating effects on me, right? So like all of a sudden I go from being and feeling fairly important to right to the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
Where I don't feel important, I don't feel wanted, I don't feel loved. And that for me, I don't do good in that kind of an environment. Yeah, I tend to very much struggle there.
I fully understand that. And now when you're at that bottom of that totem pole and you're not getting that attention that you seek, it can lead to some pretty self-destructive behavior.
Yeah.
Case in point, last night. Yeah, I got pretty shit-faced last night. Gonna admit it. Needed it, but I'm good now. But yeah, those dominoes fall, and you got to make that point with your, I know with my spouse, she's number one in my life. She's back there watching my 3 kids. I know she's going. So, and I got to kind of put that in perspective that, well, while I'm here, she's got to take care of everything back at home. And that's a really hard pill to swallow most days, because I'm like you, Brad, I need that attention as well.
Yeah.
And when it's not there, you start wandering down that path of self-destruction.
And the dichotomy between the two worlds is so
Yeah.
different, right? So like the way and the lifestyle that my wife is living right now versus where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
So for us, there are large expanses of quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not a lot to fill that
Same
space.
here.
Where with them, there isn't that quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find for me that quiet can be very destructive for me. So I want to talk about a few things that maybe we can do to kind of help this. So like, we've talked about things that we're kind of going on, a way that we're kind of struggling through this. And all respect, to my wife and your wife, I fully understand that there's a lot going on. And I find that being very open and clear, and being very explicit and I need you now,
Yes.
Is helpful, provided that your partner's responsive to it. But other things that maybe for any of you that are out there that are having issues, or you're having struggles, whether it's maritally or otherwise, whether you're a soldier or otherwise, I think all of us face issues of being isolated and feeling alone and things like that. Some things that I try to do, obviously, is the gym, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of my self-destructive tendencies, are pointed at the gym to try to break myself down, but obviously make myself better. So I try to point myself in that direction quite a lot. I try to spend time with friends. Being able to find people that I can talk to and be able to kind of get things off my chest. Those are things that I try to do. Talking about those dominoes, those negative dominoes, it's almost like you can build in kind of a safety net around you with people and activities that can kind of keep you busy and keep you moving.
Mm-hmm.
I have found though, in some of my darkest times, even thinking to tomorrow is too far. Sometimes I just have to find something to cling on to in that day or in an hour to be able to kind of keep myself moving. Case in point, even just looking to chow time, right?
Yeah.
To time to eat, right?
Having something to look forward to. I got to get to that next moment.
Yep, the DFAC opens at 5 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock, I can go eat and I can have a meal and it's warm. You know what I mean? Like, even something that simple can kind of maybe be just enough to get you going in your darkest times. But you can't keep yourself there. And I think a lot of us tend to keep ourselves down sometimes, right? Like, we just get in that spiral and we just stay in that funk. And you got to try to find something to be able to cling on to, kind of bring yourself up and out of it. Otherwise, you get in pretty dark space, and that's no good for anybody. So I had some people ask kind of point blank what was going on with me, and I wasn't really going to address it directly because I didn't see much of a need to kind of I guess air dirty laundry with family and feeling stressed and whatever else. But some people asked point blank, and I want to try to be open and transparent with me and my channel, and maybe something like this will be helpful for somebody else. But then also having talked to you last night,
Mm-hmm.
You kind of going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So if it's you and me in such close proximity, we're kind of experiencing this right now.
There's other people out there doing the exact same thing.
Hundreds, thousands of other people kind of going through similar issues, whether they're soldiers or not. And so I just wanted to talk about my experience of kind of having down times and dark times, especially when dealing with my spouse, who is supposed to be my best friend, my closest supporter, and all that other stuff, right? Like, those are very lofty ideals, and most of the time we are those things. But some of the times we are not those things. Some of the times I probably hate her more than anyone else on the planet. and it ebbs and flows, but it's all about keeping things in perspective, and then not letting those negative thoughts get too carried away, and trying to find a way to kind of pull up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What else do you think? Anything else we got to cover on this, or are we pretty much?
I think we're pretty good.
I think we're pretty good too. Anyway, guys, you know, for any of you that are out there that are having some issues and things like that, you know, keep your chin up. Try to find something to hold on to. You know, look for that next thing to kind of keep you moving. Find the gym. Find a hobby. You know, wood carving. Whatever you can do. You find something to cling on to that's just going to get you through that little bit of time, or keep you busy, keep you focused on something healthy, versus kind of getting into that self-destructive pattern of behavior, and then you find yourself in a really dark space. Yeah, that's it, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave in the chat box below. I'll be sure to respond. I appreciate you guys checking out this video. You can help me out a lot with likes, shares, and subscribes, helping make the channel grow and make the community bigger and even better than it already is. It would mean a lot to me. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, like pull yourself out of that downward spiral and stop staring into the darkness. You got to get in, train despite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way, and I hope that you guys continue to find that way. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Wanna be strong, but I'm broken. Try to breathe, but I'm choking. I'm in a million pieces on the floor. I'm making friends with my demons. They understand what I'm needing. I just wanna feel something.